Could a single fighter jet deal send shockwaves through NATO? Imagine the alliance, a pillar of global security, suddenly needing to rethink its entire defense strategy because of one acquisition. We're breaking down how the Gripen deal isn't just about jets. It's about potentially reshaping the future of collaborative defense and what that means for every member nation. Picture this. A new fighter jet enters the European theater, and suddenly, NATO strategists are scrambling. What if this seemingly independent deal forces the alliance to fundamentally alter its coordinated defense frameworks? This video uncovers the hidden implications of the Gripen acquisition, revealing why it's more than just a purchase. It's a potential game changer for NATO's operational unity.
The defense world just got shaken. Not by a missile test or a sudden conflict, but by a deal. A deal involving the Saab Gripen fighter jet. At first glance, it looks like a standard defense procurement story. A nation upgrades its air force, signs a contract, gets new jets. Simple, right? Not this time. The Saab JAS-39 Gripen, often called the Smart Fighter, has always stood out for being different. Unlike the American F-35 or the French Rafale, which come with sky-high price tags and heavy logistical demands, the Gripen offers something unique: affordability without sacrificing advanced capabilities. It's lighter, easier to maintain, highly adaptable, and can operate from shorter runways, even highways. For smaller or mid-sized nations, this makes it a game changer. So when this latest Gripen deal was announced, it wasn't just about acquiring jets. It was about signaling a strategic choice. The country involved isn't simply filling gaps in its air force. It's sending a message to allies and rivals alike. We want independence, flexibility, and leverage in our defense policy. And this is where the story gets interesting, because this isn't happening in a vacuum. Every defense purchase carries political weight, but this one is resonating far beyond the buyer's borders. NATO officials, military analysts, and even rival defense contractors are paying attention. Why? Because this deal challenges assumptions. NATO's defense strategy has long leaned heavily on US-made fighters like the F-16 and F-35. The Gripen's entry at this level suggests a potential shift in the balance of trust and influence inside the alliance itself. So the real question is, why is this particular acquisition, on paper just another arms contract, causing ripples that reach all the way to NATO headquarters in Brussels? For NATO, strength doesn't just come from firepower, it comes from unity. And at the core of that unity lies one word: interoperability. Interoperability means that when NATO nations fly together, fight together, or even just train together, their systems connect seamlessly. Pilots can swap cockpits, spare parts can be shared, and command centers can instantly coordinate across borders. Without this principle, the alliance is just a loose collection of militaries, not a united defense force. Right now, NATO's air wings are dominated by a few big players. The tried and tested F-16 Fighting Falcon, still the backbone of many European air forces. The newer, high-tech F-35 Lightning II, designed for stealth and networked warfare. And of course, the Eurofighter Typhoon, Europe's own multi-role powerhouse. Around these aircraft, NATO has built massive logistics chains, joint training programs, and shared maintenance depots. It's a well-oiled machine. But here's the catch. Introducing a new fighter like the Saab Gripen, as capable and versatile as it is, means rewriting part of that machine. New training pipelines for pilots and technicians, new maintenance protocols, separate spare parts inventories. Even small differences in software or data sharing systems could cause friction during joint operations. Imagine a large-scale NATO exercise, dozens of nations flying hundreds of jets under one command structure. If one platform doesn't fully integrate, it risks slowing down the entire mission. That's the dilemma NATO faces with the Gripen. On paper, it offers agility, affordability, and cutting-edge technology. But in practice, it challenges the very backbone of NATO cohesion, interoperability. And this is why the Gripen deal is raising eyebrows. It's not about questioning the fighter's quality. It's about questioning whether NATO's carefully built air strategy can absorb an outsider without creating cracks in the alliance's unity.
When a nation chooses a fighter jet, it's never just about hardware. It's about politics, alliances, and the future direction of its defense strategy. And the Gripen deal is no exception. For decades, NATO members have leaned heavily on standard platforms. The F-16 became the universal workhorse. The F-35 is marketed as the alliance's future backbone. Even the Eurofighter, though European-built, was designed with NATO standard operations in mind. Sticking to these platforms ensures cohesion, predictability, and above all, alignment with U.S. defense leadership inside NATO. But the Gripen deal suggests something different, a willingness by at least one member state to step outside the traditional playbook. Why? The motivations are layered. Cost is an obvious driver. The Gripen offers cutting-edge capability at a fraction of the price of an F-35. Then there's technology transfer. Unlike American jets, the Gripen often comes with more generous terms for local production, training, and even partial intellectual property sharing. And don't forget industrial partnerships. For smaller nations, the chance to strengthen their own aerospace sector can be just as important as fielding a strong fighter jet. This raises the bigger question. If one nation can justify stepping away from NATO's standard platforms, what's stopping others? Countries with tight budgets, different threat environments, or ambitions to grow their domestic defense industries might look at the Gripen model and think, why not us? If that trend accelerates, NATO could face a more diverse but also more fragmented operational landscape. Imagine an alliance where some nations fly F-35s, others Eurofighters, others Gripens, and perhaps even South Korean or Turkish jets in the mix. On one hand, this creates flexibility and reduces overdependence on a single supplier. On the other, it complicates training, logistics, and interoperability, the very glue that holds NATO together. And that's the strategic ripple effect. This isn't just about one nation's procurement choice. It could be the start of a subtle realignment, where alliance members prioritize national benefits over collective uniformity, reshaping NATO's defense dynamics in ways few expected.
Buying a new fighter jet is one thing. Making it work inside NATO's vast military machine, that's another challenge entirely. For NATO, rapid deployment and integrated air defense are the backbone of credibility. In a crisis, jets need to scramble within minutes, plug into shared radar and command networks, and fly missions seamlessly alongside allies. That's where the Gripen's arrival could reshape the playbook. On the practical level, NATO will need to invest in new training pathways. Pilots must learn the Gripen's unique flight systems, data links, and mission profiles. Ground crews will require specialized maintenance training, since the jet uses different components and servicing protocols than the F-16s or F-35s they're used to. Even NATO command centers will need updated procedures to integrate Gripen-equipped squadrons into their real-time battle networks. But there's another side to this story: opportunity. The Gripen brings qualities that NATO standard platforms often lack. Its ability to operate from short, even improvised runways means it can be deployed from remote bases, or in wartime, from highways, giving NATO far greater flexibility in contested environments. Its lower operating cost means more flight hours, more training, and potentially a larger active fleet compared to pricier jets. So instead of just being a burden, the Gripen could actually carve out specialized roles within NATO's defense posture. For example, in regions like the Baltics or Scandinavia, where geography demands fast, dispersed responses, the Gripen's short-field capability is a major asset. In Southern Europe, where budgets are tighter, the cost-effectiveness of Gripen operations could help nations contribute more consistently to alliance missions. The question is, will NATO adapt fast enough to harness these strengths? Or will the differences in training, maintenance, and deployment slow integration and create vulnerabilities? Either way, the Gripen's presence is forcing NATO to rethink not just what it flies, but how it fights. Every challenge carries within it an opportunity.
And NATO's Gripen dilemma may in fact be the spark for something greater. Yes, the Gripen deal complicates the status quo. It disrupts standardized training, challenges interoperability, and forces NATO to rethink its established logistics chains. But sometimes disruption is exactly what's needed to evolve. By introducing a new platform into the alliance, NATO is being nudged, if not pushed, towards innovation. Training programs may have to become more modular, flexible enough to handle different aircraft. Logistics networks might evolve into more decentralized systems, capable of supporting a wider range of platforms. Communication protocols could become more robust, ensuring that even diverse aircraft can share mission-critical data instantly. And here's the bigger picture. Instead of weakening NATO, this diversity could make it more resilient. A future alliance that isn't dependent on a single platform or supplier is harder to predict, harder to disrupt, and harder to defeat. The Gripen, with its affordability, adaptability, and ease of operation, might just be the beginning of a new era. One where NATO thrives not because of uniformity, but because of flexible strength. So while the adjustments will be real, and in some cases painful, the long-term outcome could be a stronger, more versatile alliance. One that's ready not just for today's challenges, but for the unpredictable threats of tomorrow. And that's why this deal, surprising as it may seem, could ultimately send not just shockwaves, but a powerful signal of transformation through NATO itself. The Gripen deal may be a challenge today, but it could be the blueprint for NATO's strength tomorrow. What do you think? Disruption or evolution? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned with SkyJet Wings for more deep dives into the future of air power.